Nalini wants to sit in the dais itself.
Then in that case, Chetan, Vinod, and then directly Tejasvi.
Chetan single,
Welcome back, everybody. Very, very good afternoon, and a very warm welcome back again for the third session of 26th National Youth Festival. क्या आप सभी मेरे साथ हैं? एक बार जोरदार NSS क्लैप हो जाए फिर ये जानने के लिए कि जोश कितना हाई है. जोश इज डेफिनेटली हाई बिकॉज हमने पूरा भारत आज देख लिया यहाँ पे. 26 जनवरी आज रिपब्लिक डे 10 दिन पहले ही मन गई. Everybody was singing actually all the patriotic songs. It was wonderful. So that is what India is all about. हर जगह से यहाँ पे लोग आए हैं और सब एक दूसरे को सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. तो एक बार जोरदार तालियां खुद के लिए भी हो जाए. And now it is time to proceed and start with the next session. So are you all ready, guys? I need some energy. Are you all ready, guys? Well, in that case, please put a huge round of applause as I welcome and introduce the speaker for the next session. And the next session is all about startup and digital India. So please welcome on stage Dr. Chetan Singhai. जोरदार तालियों से इनका स्वागत किया जाए. Member committee to finalize draft NEP 2020 and currently convener National Curriculum Framework, MOE, Government of India. Huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, as we welcome Dr. Chetan Singhai. Now I take this pleasure of welcoming on stage Mr. Vinod Kenny, who is also the speaker for today's session. A huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. So venture capital professional, serial entrepreneur, finance CXO advisor, mentor and company builder, US, India and Southeast Asia experience. He's also currently an advisor and mentor to corporate VCs, family offices, VC funds and startups, experienced in building and scaling businesses, financial management, fundraising, restructuring, and exits as CFO and CEO. As an entrepreneur, co-founded business in financial services, outsourcing, and technology, successfully exited to large public companies, have built profitable back office and outsourcing businesses, experienced with GTM strategies, business development, and strategic initiatives. So here we have Mr. Vinod Kenny with us. Can we have, once again, a huge round of applause? And now, ladies and gentlemen, youth icon हम इन्हें कह सकते हैं. काफ़ी लोगों के लिए ये एक आदर्श एग्जाम्पल भी है और काफ़ी एनर्जी और एंथुसियाज्म के साथ में हमें भी इनका स्वागत करना है. जोरदार तालियों के बीच लेट्स वेलकम श्री तेजस्वी सूर्या, ऑनरेबल मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट, ऑन स्टेज. कम ऑन एवरीबॉडी, आई रिक्वेस्ट एवरीबॉडी टू प्लीज स्टैंड अप एंड लेट्स वेलकम नेशनल प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ बीजेपी युवा मोर्चा, MP for Bengaluru South Lok Sabha constituency, aspiring triathlete, advocate, RT and endorsements. And yes, now it is time to welcome the moderator of the session, Dr. Mukund Raj. एक बार जोरदार तालियां for the man behind the smooth functioning of all the sessions that are happening today. Yes, let's have a huge round of applause, the NSS clap for Dr. Mukund Raj. Come on, everybody. 25 years of overall experience in information technology industry, sustainable development, business process re-engineering, framework and policy development, exposure to international markets, industry, and government in domains of sustainable development, technology implementation, education, skilling, employment, mining, and agriculture. So here we have the panel members. Let's welcome all the speakers, the moderator, and the panel members. And like every session, ye session mein bhi we will be choosing one best question. So I request everybody to please participate, have your questions ready. And now I request our moderator, Dr. Mukund Raj, to please proceed. Thank you, everyone.
Namaskar, good afternoon. It will be very wrong of me to ask how is the Josh, because Mr. Tejasvi Surya has already set the tone. Now I will only set the topic. आज का topic freewheeling topic है because it's on youth. Youth के बारे में चर्चा हुआ है morning से. अभी broadly दो तीन agendas है. One, digital India. Digital कैसे, how do we integrate digital with the youth? We have one entrepreneur, Vinod Kenny ji we have. He will be talking to us on that. policy matters, new education policy, vocational skilling, digital, how does it happen? How does it integrate? Dr. Singhai will throw some light on it. मैं sustainable development goal से हूँ, so 17 topic, all the topics, so it will be a jack of all and not a master of none. So ऐसा ही I'll freewheel on all the topics. इसमें NSS के कर्नाटक के NSS के volunteers, 50,000 volunteers have participated in a unique scheme called Amrita Samudaya. वो भारत में पहले बार हुआ है with 450 colleges participating. A big round of applause to NSS volunteers to everywhere. So NSS के So the NSS team will present very quickly at a later stage, for 5 minutes, about their Amrita Samudaya to all of us. Now, I would like to request the Honorable MP Tejasvi Surya ji to address the gathering and to, you can commence or, please you can. Set the tone. Because you are good at setting the bar high and the Josh, so we would require the Josh. Thank you.
भारत माता की ऐसे नहीं साथियों जोश से भारत माता की ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ देश के कोने कोने से आए हुए मेरे युवा साथियों को मैं अपने कर्नाटका के इस पुण्य धरती पर मैं हृदय से स्वागत करता हूं, आमंत्रित और अभिनंदन करता हूं। वेलकम टू कर्नाटका, one of India's most progressive states, the most inclusive state, the state which is the home to some great stalwarts in the field of art, culture, science, technology, entrepreneurship, business, sports, you name it. The powerhouse of talent, India's city and town of temples, the state which houses India's youngest city, India's Silicon Valley, and the powerhouse of India's economic engine. Welcome all of you to Namma Karnataka. Namma Karnataka ke nimmellarigu mattomme swagata, suswagata. Friends, dignitaries on the dais and all my delegates here, I'm in fact looking forward to all of your questions. आज मुझे बताया गया कि सुबह से आप लोग इतने उत्साह से उमंग से पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं हर सेशन में, और जिस प्रकार का सवाल आप लोग पूछ रहे हैं, जेएस साहब ने बता रहे थे कि इट इज़ एक्सट्रीमली एक्साइटिंग एंड वेरी इंसाइटफुल। इसलिए मोनोलॉग कम करते हुए आप सबके बीच आने का सौभाग्य आज प्राप्त हुई है। आई वांट टू थैंक द ऑर्गेनाइजर्स एंड आई वांट टू थैंक द यूथ अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री फॉर पुटिंग टुगेदर सच अ फैंटास्टिक शो। ऑन बिहाफ ऑफ ऑल ऑफ यू, आई ऑल्सो वांट टू थैंक our beloved Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for giving the opportunity of hosting this wonderful youth festival to Namma Karnataka. Friends, I want to take just 10 minutes of your time to speak on 2-3 important themes on why we as the young of India are one of the most fortunate, most lucky lot in the world today. All of us are today seated in this auditorium, debating and discussing issues of today and issues that concern our tomorrow in a most vibrant and dynamic fashion. Just imagine if you were, say, 1,000 kilometers to the south of where we are sitting today. Assume, say, you were in Sri Lanka and not here. आप सब लोग आज जानते ही हैं श्रीलंका के आर्थिक स्थिति और राजनीतिक स्थिति आज कैसा है। The political and economic situation in Sri Lanka is extremely distressing. The inflation is more than 139%. Whether it is for petrol, diesel, or for edible food items, people are facing an extremely difficult task. The political anarchy has set in so much so that the president of the country himself had to vacate his official bungalow and run away to a foreign land. That's the kind of economic and political doldrum that a country just 1,000 kilometers to the south of where we are sitting is facing. Imagine if you were, instead of here, 1,500 or 1,200 kilometers to the northwest of where we are sitting today. नॉर्थवेस्ट कहाँ होता है? क्या पड़ता है नॉर्थवेस्ट में? पाकिस्तान का आज का हालत कैसा है? ट्विटर पे 2-3 दिन पहले पाकिस्तान के एक बहुत वरिष्ठ एमपी या मिनिस्टर ने ट्वीट किए थे. He said that Pakistan is struggling to even procure wheat flour. इस प्रकार का स्थिति पाकिस्तान में आज, पाकिस्तान के युवा आज वो ऐसे परिस्थिति में गुजर रहा है. Imagine if we were in a place another 300 kilometers to the northwest of Pakistan. What is that? The situation of young men and especially young women, young girls in Afghanistan is so difficult. Here we are sitting, exercising not just our freedom of speech, but we are also exercising our freedom of thought, our freedom of expression when it comes to even what we want to wear. But if we were in Afghanistan, we neither have the freedom of expression to wear what we want, nor is a young girl permitted to study anything beyond 6th grade, nor does she have the right to come out of her house and drive her own car, forget drive her own destiny. But here we are today, young men, young women, all seated in one auditorium and dreaming of a future where we can have an impact. And this is why we are fortunate to be here. Imagine if we were, instead of here, 1,200 kilometers to the very north of where we are sitting here. Imagine if we were in Ukraine or Russia. Young men and young women of your and my age are facing mandatory conscription. They are being sent against their will to borders to fight a war in which they are not interested. Imagine if we were, my dear friends, 1,200 kilometers to the east of where we are sitting here. Imagine if we were in China. Do you think there could have been a platform of this kind where youth would be discussing their role in governance and you would be given opportunities to question members and representatives of the government? And could you even imagine a situation where the government is organizing a youth festival, an officer from the government comes and asks you that the best question you pose will be getting an award? This is why I say it is a blessing to be in India, and it is a great blessing to be young in India at this point in history, because this is the time that is India's time. This is the time that is our time. This is a time when it is India's young who will be crafting India's future and the world's destiny. Imagine how lucky we are to be just here. We take these things for granted. But when you look at the global perspective, just the immediate neighborhood of where we live, we will learn to value the privilege, the opportunity, and this great blessing that all of us are enjoying. So my first request and my first point before all of you is this. Never before in India's history did a generation enjoy the kind of freedom, the kind of privilege, the kind of opportunities that my generation, our generation is enjoying today. Friends, remember this and underline this every single day when you wake up. That we are the most blessed, most opportune generation of this country. We are India's Amrit generation. We are the generation which is taking India into its famed Amrit Kal. We are not only the future of India, we are also the present of India. हम भारत के भविष्य भी हैं, हम भारत के वर्तमान भी हैं. The second thing that I want all of you to reflect on is this. Friends, I want all of you to do a small exercise after you go back homes. tomorrow or day after, whenever you complete this festival and go back. आपके घर जाने के बाद घर में आपके पिताजी या माताजी या दादाजी जो भी है, जो वरिष्ठ बुजुर्ग लोग हैं घर पे, उनसे आप संवाद कीजिए और उनसे पूछिए उनके जो 20 साल था, उनके जो 30 साल था, when they were in their 30s, when they were in their 20s, what was the kind of life they faced, what was the kind of opportunities they had. मैं आपको एक दो उदाहरण देना चाहता हूं. आजकल मैं देख रहा हूं बहुत सारे लोग आप फोटो खींच रहे, वीडियोस कर रहे, लाइव कर रहे. साथियों, सिर्फ 15-20 साल पहले this was something that could not have been thought of. सिर्फ 15-20 साल पहले इस देश में अगर टेलीफोन कनेक्शन लेना चाहते थे तो आप एमपी के पास, मिनिस्टर के पास जाकर आप रिकमेंडेशन लेटर लेना पड़ता था और 6 महीने 7 महीने तक इंतजार करना पड़ता था, दफ्तर जाना पड़ता था एक टेलीफोन कनेक्शन करने के लिए. पर आज हम सब के हाथ में 2-2 मोबाइल फोन है, हर मोबाइल फोन में डबल सिम कार्ड है. This is the kind of connectivity that this country has seen in the last 15 years. मैं 2-3 दिन पहले अपने गांव गया था जहां अपने पारिवारिक के कार्यक्रम था. वहां मैं कुछ जो चिट्ठियां मेरे पिताजी ने उनके पिताजी को लिखे थे जब वो स्टूडेंट थे, वो 5-6 चिट्ठी मिली. चिट्ठी पढ़ने के वक्त मुझे याद आया, we are living in such different generations. My father had written to his father asking for a money order to be sent for 8 rupees. And for that 8 rupees, my father had given a breakup of इसमें 3 रुपए इसके लिए, 2 रुपए इसके लिए और 2 रुपए एग्जाम में एप्लीकेशन भर्ती करने के लिए. ऐसे उन्होंने 8 रुपए का हिस्सा देकर चिट्ठी लिखे थे. And my grandfather replies back to it saying that today we don't have 8 rupees to spare, but I am sending you 5 rupees. Make use of this for application fee for examination and this, etc., etc. I am going to do the money order today. I hope it will reach you before the last date of examination, and the remaining 3 rupees when you come back the next time to visit us, we will give you. साथियों, आप सोच सकते हैं, समझ सकते हैं, 20, 30, 40 years ago, this was the kind of world. आज हम जैसे व्हाट्सएप भेजते हैं, व्हाट्सएप भेजने से आसानी से हम पैसा भेज रहे हैं, ना सिर्फ भारत के अंदर बट थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड. दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ डिफरेंस, दिस इज द काइंड ऑफ वर्ल्ड दैट वी आर लिविंग इन. Friends, my request to all of you is this. This is a generation, ours is a generation which is blessed to have these kind of opportunities. There is no way that you and I can fail. There is no way that you and I can dream small. There is no way that you and I cannot live to our full potential. Remember that if my generation, our generation dreams small, that small dream is a crime. Remember that if our generation fails, that there cannot be a bigger travesty of human existence than our generation failing, because we are blessed with all kinds of opportunities because our previous generation struggled to make this happen for us. Today, the country is on a move. 75 years ago, that very country which had enslaved us, colonized us, is behind us in terms of the economic capability. Just 1 year ago, through the efforts of young India, India reached the spot of the 5th largest economy in the world, putting behind Britain, the United Kingdom, who 75 years ago were the colonial masters. Very soon, India will rise to become the world's 3rd largest economy. India is today the world leader not just in agriculture, in sericulture, horticulture, but India is also, from space to soil, leading innovation and technology for the rest of the world. It is our young people who are growing the companies, the startups, and the technology institutions of today, which will be the Apples, the Microsofts, and the Googles of tomorrow. The previous generation, my dear friends, went out of India, went to the US, to the Australia, the Canadas, and the Israels of the world, and they got a job in the global corporation, and there they made an impact. But our generation is different. We are not going from here to US or UK, but we are creating the Apples and Microsoft here in Hyderabad, in Bengaluru, in Hubli, in Chittorgarh, in every part and nook, and in Kanpur, Lucknow. That's where New India is giving rise. Olympics में हो या Commonwealth Games में हो, Math Olympiad हो या Science Olympiad हो, स्पेल बी कंपटीशन हो या चित्रकला परिषद के कंपटीशन हो, it is India's young who are actually putting a stamp of dominance on all around the world. This will continue, and the greatest inspiration for all of us to take this forward is Swami Vivekananda, the eternal youth icon who represents the spirit of India's eternal civilizational ethos and consciousness, coupled with progressive modern thinking and an insatiable strength of domination and control of the human mind. He is our youth icon. I want to, before conclude, give before all of you 5 quotes of Swami Vivekananda, which I think are extremely important for all of us to follow for the rest of our lives. Even if you do not follow anything else, if you make these 5 quotes of Swami Vivekananda as your mool mantra for every single day, your life will be a life of happiness and success, a life where you would have made an impact on the world. Friends, जब हम युवा रहते हैं ना, हमको लगता है कि ये स्पिरिचुअलिटी जो है, विवेकानंद जी जैसे जो काविधारी सन्यासी है, ये अपने लिए नहीं है, ये बुजुर्गों के लिए है. ये आध्यात्मिकता जो है, ये स्पिरिचुअलिटी है, ये सब बुजुर्गों के लिए है. दिस इज द बिजनेस ऑफ द ओल्ड, नॉट द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द यंग. ऐसे हम गलती से हम सोचते हैं. बट लेट मी टेल यू, द फिलॉसफी दैट विवेकानंद गेव टू द वर्ल्ड, the philosophy that India and Indian civilization gave to the world is not a philosophy or a spirituality that detracts you from the real world challenges. It's not spirituality that takes you away from the materialistic life. It is philosophy and spirituality that strengthens you and prepares you for the real world challenges, which is why it is important to follow spiritual icons like Swami Vivekananda. Because reading them, we will be stronger to face the challenges of the world. The first quote of Swami Vivekananda that I want all of you to remember, write down. Write it not on a piece of paper, but write it deep, etch it deep on your hearts is this. Swamiji said, there are 1,000,000 gods, but as long as you do not believe in yourself, there is no point in believing in 1,000,000,000 gods. The very first quote that I want all of us to remember is this. You cannot believe in God until you believe in yourself. This is Swami Vivekananda's first quote that I want all of you to remember. Today, I'm sure through the course of the session, there will be interactions, there will be guidance from Vivekji and others. Whether you want to start a company, whether you want to run a race, whatever you want to do, the very first initial thought begins with you believing in yourself. आपको खुद के ऊपर विश्वास नहीं है, तो भगवान के ऊपर विश्वास करने से फायदा क्या होता है? So my first request to all of you is to remember this, that you, each single one of you, irrespective of where you were born, irrespective of the color of your skin, irrespective of the language that you speak, irrespective of the bank balance that your father has or a mother has, irrespective of the surname that you're born in, you have immense ability to make it big in life. If a Draupadi Murmu could become the President of India, if a Narendra Modi can become the Prime Minister of India, if a man like Abdul Kalam who went house to house throwing newspapers, distributing newspapers, could rise to become India's Bharat Ratna, missile man and president of India. So can you. So believe in yourself, my dear friends. The second message of Swami Vivekananda is this. Vivekananda was a worshipper of strength. वो शक्ति में, ताकत में, वो विश्वास रखते थे. He believed that strength alone should be worshipped, not meekness, not weakness, not giving up. Life is not going to be easy. Remember this, my dear friends. You and I are at the very threshold of entering the challenges of life. The next 50 years, 60 years, every single day that we wake up, there may be challenges. There may be challenges at work. There may be challenges at home. There may be challenges with respect to health. There may be challenges in every possible way. But the message of Swami Vivekananda is to stay strong. And the Swamiji says, strength is life, weakness is death. This is what Swami Vivekananda told all of us. I want all of you to remember this as the mantra. If at any point in time you feel that you want to give up, remember this mantra. Strength is, weakness is, your generation, my generation, our generation, we have no option to give up. We won't give up. We won't give up until we achieve what we want, because we are Bharat's Amrit Kal generation. Can we believe that we are India's Amrit Kal generation? Can we believe, resolve today that strength is life, weakness is death will be our mantra for every single day? Yeah? Can I get a big yes from all of you? The third message that Swamiji says is this. Especially because this is a young audience, I want all of you to follow this. Swamiji said that I want strong young men and women. Strong how? Strong how? Physically, mentally, intellectually, spiritually, in every way we want to be strong. Swami Vivekananda said, my child, what I want is muscles of iron and nerves of steel, inside which dwells a mind as sharp as the thunderbolt. You will understand the Gita much better with your biceps and muscles a little stronger. This is what Swami Vivekananda said. Today, when the Prime Minister has given us the call of Fit India, of Healthy India, of Khelo India, it is because we want to be a young India, which is a fit India, a strong India. Sharira madhyam khalu dharma sadhanam. This is what is said. That this body is a temple. Whatever you want to achieve in your life, if your body is not going to be with you, you cannot do anything. Friends, remember that we are a young nation today. But in the next 20 years, we will be a middle-aged nation. Next 30 years, we will be an old India, right? But that old India cannot afford to be an unhealthy India. And health comes only when from today we adopt lifestyle habits like exercising every day, watching what we eat, bending our bodies, exercising our muscles and becoming stronger. कभी कभी मुझे लगता है जब हम कार्यक्रम ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं 5 किलोमीटर का दौड़, 10 किलोमीटर का दौड़, हम सिर्फ ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं युवा होकर भी, पर उसमें भाग लेने के लिए जो आते हैं वो प्रोफेशनल एथलीट्स होते हैं. If you are 25, 26 and you cannot run 10 kilometers without getting tired, how are we young? So I want all of you to remember that the third mantra is muscles of iron, nerves of steel, and a mind as sharp as the thunderbolt. That is the ideal yuva that we must all aspire to become. The fourth mantra is this. They alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive. This is what Swamiji said. Satyo, imagine if human beings are not driven by a larger purpose, our life becomes so limited and meaningless. Compare your life with an animal. A dog or a cat or any other animal, उनके पूरे जीवन जो जाता है, it goes in procuring food. उसमें ही उनका पूरा जीवन समाप्त हो जाता है. But the life of a human being starts after procuring food. अगर मैं आप सबको एक रूम में बिठा दिया, बाहर बंद कर दिया दरवाजा, और मैं आपको बोला कि आप स्विगी में, जोमेटो में ऑर्डर करते रहो भाई, सुबह से शाम तक जो खाना चाहते हो खाओ, वो आएगा, will you still be happy? You will be extremely miserable, because food for us is not the end. Food for us is a means to achieve something bigger. And what is that bigger thing that drives us? Purpose. Purpose of existence. To do some meaningful work which can have an impact on the world. That is what gives true meaning to all of our lives. And Swamiji summed it up in this beautiful line. He said, those who live for others are the only ones living. The rest are more dead than alive. So मैं आपसे इतना ही निवेदन करना चाहता हूं, आप जो भी काम करें. If you are a teacher in a school, remember that you want to be a teacher who will impact 50 other people and be an unselfish teacher, because if you do that, you are truly a successful teacher. Tomorrow, if you aspire to be a political leader, be a leader who does not command respect, but a leader who commands and wants to do service of people. Because doing so, you will be leading a change. Doing so, you will be leading a more purposeful life. So what is the fourth mantra? Live for others. Fourth mantra. The fifth one and the last one that I want all of you to remember is this. Today, in the course of your discussions with entrepreneurs and mentors, you may have realized, and when you look at the life of any great man in the world, whether it is Messi, whether it is Cristiano Ronaldo, whether it is Narendra Modi, whether it is Vishwanathan Anand, whether it is Abdul Kalam, whether it is Narayan Murthy, any single person who has achieved anything worthwhile in life, you will realize that there is no shortcut to success. Sathiyos, there is absolutely no shortcut to success. आप शॉर्टकट के रास्ते पे आप जाते हो तो आप शॉर्ट सर्क्यूट हो जाते हैं. There is no shortcut. Success will come only if you do tapasya every single day. रोज मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. सुबह से रात तक मेहनत करनी पड़ती है. You have to work every day, day after day, relentlessly, and only then will success come beckoning you. And Swamiji said this in his inimitable style. Swamiji said, my young men, take up one idea. Take up one idea, make that one idea your life. Think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea and no other idea, anything else. Just leave every other idea alone. This is the only way to success. This is what Swami Vivekananda said. If you want to tomorrow be an Olympic gold winning athlete for India, forget everything else. When you wake up and when you go to bed, and all the minutes in between, your focus is only one, the gold medal for India. If you want to build an enterprise that can take on the Apples and Microsoft of the world, when you sleep, when you wake up, when you work, only one dream, to build that. This is the secret to success. Focus, focus, and focus. We are in a world today where the mobile phone in our hand has distractions of the whole world right in our palm. The challenge before this generation is to stay focused. The more you focus, the more success will come towards you. These are the 5 thoughts of Swami Vivekananda that I want to leave all of you with. The coming 5 years, the coming 25 years is our 25 years. There is going to be tremendous change the country and the world will witness in technology, in climate change, in renewable energy, in digitization, in the pan-global economic practices and processes. There is going to be tremendous change in the world, in the way the politics of the world is going to be done. The future of jobs is going to be different. The future of economy is going to be different. And how that is going to be different, this group here, this generation here will determine. With a lot of hope for tomorrow, with a lot of optimism for tomorrow, that कल का भारत आज से भी बेहतर होगी, कल का भारत आज से भी बेहतर होगा, आज से भी बहुत ताकतवर भारत होगा. With that hope, with that positivity, with that hope and optimism, I thank all of you for giving me a very, very patient hearing. Come, my dear friends, together let us build a Jagat Guru Bharat, a Vishwa Guru Bharat, which will give light, prosperity, and leadership for the rest of the world. Now is our time. Now is the future, and we are the future. Thank you so much. Bharat Mata Ki.
We, as a generation, are blessed with some great benefits. I would like to thank our Honorable MP, Sri Tejasvi Surya ji, for inspiring us to the core and inculcating in us great optimism. With this, I hand over to Dr. Mukund Raji to take over as the moderator of this session.
Thank you, Mr. Tejasvi. You have sort of epitomized जो भविष्य है और वर्तमान है, ये सतत प्रयास के साथ ही सतत विकास होगा. आपने एक बहुत अच्छी तरह you have crystallized it. Now, I have been working with the government to set up the context. I want to lay out few things for the benefit of the students and for the panel members here. In fact, opportunities बहुत सारे हैं. सुबह से लोग पूछ रहे थे whether it's an employment opportunity, whether it's an entrepreneurship opportunity. कर्नाटक में ही देखिए अभी एप्पल का मैन्युफैक्चरर है, 50,000 जॉब है. Are we willing to go? Are the youth willing to get into the manufacturing sector? Skilling के लिए the government is providing so many schemes. In fact, the government wants to have internship. Our ACS has been pushing for internship and apprenticeship for every youth. Are we willing to go? The challenge I find among the youth, क्योंकि मैं 4 साल skilling में काम कर चुका हूँ, I have seen a view. कर्नाटक में we are very happy with the service industry. Opportunities manufacturing में है. The Honorable Prime Minister is also pushing manufacturing, but for that, they should be employees. Is the world ready for employment? Are our youth ready for employment in the manufacturing sector? That is something they can answer during this session here today. The other thing, for an entrepreneur to improve, we have Mr. Vinod Kenny, who has an experience in international listing, NASDAQ, etc., an entrepreneur who has really grown up. उनसे पूछ सकते हैं. And finally, before I come back to Mr. Tejasvi, we will actually have Dr. Chetan, who has a very crucial part in the new educational policy, जहाँ हम लोग skilling, education, employment को integrate कर रहे हैं, so that जो opportunities आजकल है, जो when I was young, that is I started my engineering, इतने opportunity नहीं थे. तभी either you had to be an engineer or a doctor. Engineering में civil, mechanical, electrical, नहीं तो नहीं. Very oddly, I had a bit of other aspects as well. But आजकल you do anything that's an opportunity. But we have something called a bias. आजकल के we see things in a particular style so that हमें opportunity नहीं है करके we block the remaining opportunities. India is a land of opportunities. There's a lot and lot of it. I would now request Mr. Vinod Kenny to throw some light before I come to Dr. Chetan. Vinodji, your views for the youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon. And Tejasvi, you set the tone for all of us to talk about the opportunities. And irrespective of what you were actually going to talk about, my opening statement was to say that this is actually the best time to be an entrepreneur in India. This is absolutely the best time to be an entrepreneur in India. And I'll tell you this why. One, we have an amazing policy change that has happened with Startup India, right? The Startup India has actually made it extremely easy in what was earlier a friction, packed world of entrepreneurship in India, right? We have taken out a lot of the friction, a lot of redundant laws, regulations, all have been taken away. We have made it much easier to start businesses. We have made it much easier to actually shut down failed businesses as well. So it's one of the best times to actually do it. And the other things that are also very important from a timing perspective is we have some amazing new technologies that have come up. The India Stack, which is our own UPI, our own banking systems, is way ahead of what's in the rest of the world. And that actually sets the base for a lot of the things that we can do within financial services, technology, all of that. The third is the fact that there is a lot of funding available. I actually come from a VC world, right? I'm actually a venture capitalist. So what do? I fund ideas. I fund entrepreneurs, and I fund and support the growth of entrepreneurship. One of the things I want to leave and make sure that everybody understands is there is an enormous amount of capital, risk capital, that's now available to fund dreams, that fund to entrepreneurs and to fund enterprises. So there is no other time like before at this point for you to all think about actually starting businesses. The other aspect is the fact that now technology is actually helping us really come up with solutions for a lot of the challenges that we have had in India before. And I think that will continue to not only be there for India, but also for the rest of the world. And I'll give you some examples of some of the companies that I have invested in, right, which will actually indicate to you the opportunities that exist. I have invested in a space tech company. And the space tech company, going back to what Tejasvi ji said, started by an entrepreneur who was not even a space engineer, right? He actually struggled for 3 years, did sadhana every day, chased people to actually try and make sure that ideas get really accepted. And he's actually using a 3D satellite launcher to launch nano satellites. First one in the world that's come out of India, right? Active participation and support from ISRO for doing what he's doing. The point I'm making is this was actually a problem that was in India, but it's now taken to the point where the rest of the world actually is lining up at his doorstep saying, help me launch satellites. So one of the best times to use technology, there is absolutely amazing digital technologies that are now coming up. You as the youth have the ability to think differently from what my generation thought about, right? So we all thought about it as saying there's a stumbling block. But you, I think, can actually think about saying, how do I really cross that stumbling block? How do I really remove that block or make the path a lot more smoother? And not only for my generation, but for generations to come. So taking that promise, I want you to think about solutions. I want you to think about the way to leverage technology, not just for solving world's problems, but also solving problems, let's say in Hubli, Dharwad as well. How do I really solve challenges around here as well? How do I really make climate an issue that I can actually solve? Because climate tech is going to impact all of us. So look at opportunities in climate tech. Look at opportunities in water. Water will be a significant challenge for us going forward, right? And I have actually invested into companies that are now going ahead and using bacterial technology to try and filter water. Look at some of those kinds of technologies, and there are technologies that are very easily available, and there are technologies that are very easily accessible, and there are also enough institutions in this country, from the IITs and the Indian Institute of Science to a whole bunch of engineering colleges, which have all started going out and setting up incubators to support entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship is one of the best creators of jobs. I know he talked about the whole employment angle, right? Is this an employment opportunity? But it's also an entrepreneurship opportunity, and the opportunity for you to create jobs for people around you. If you look at the history of the world, and if you look at the history of advanced nations, most nations, especially like the United States, and I lived in the US for 18 plus years and came back, to go back to what you said, because the opportunity was more in India. Most countries that have actually gone and developed and become advanced nations have all gone on the back of entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship has created jobs. So for you, it actually is an opportunity to create jobs, not only for yourselves, but also for others. The ability for you to create financial security for yourselves and for people as well. And people like us who are venture capitalists, people like us who actually go and fund risky ideas, we are all there to actually fund some of these ideas. I mean, it's not necessary that you actually have to go out there and say, do I need to mortgage my parents' home? Do I need to go and pledge the family jewelry to start businesses? No. I mean, for almost everything that you actually have an idea, there is capital available, there is capital available. Please utilize that, and please go out there and start really thinking about solutions. Please start thinking about how do I really take technology and leverage that to actually build solutions for some of the problems that we may have, because some of those problems are fairly large. They can actually become big, large businesses. And they can also become profitable businesses. So, like I said, best time to start a business, best time to actually go out there and be an entrepreneur, and the best time to actually go and get funded by a VC like me. Good luck, and I look forward to having an interactive session and answering questions that you may actually have. Specific questions around technologies, I'll be very happy to also answer them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenny. Couple of things I want to educate our audience. One, after this session on the chat, we will be sharing a website that is vivekananda.in, where all the government schemes, one, there's a scheme where you can get up to 2 crore rupee loan, up to 10 lakh without collateral for an entrepreneur. I don't know how many of you know that. एक प्रधानमंत्री का scheme है, where it is 10 lakh rupees any youth can get, 2 crore you can get. I could not get it when I was young. Of course, I didn't have a streak, that's a different thing. So all this information, ये सभी जो भी है information, vivekananda.in web portal में है. आप subscribe कीजिए, Geo Chat download करके, NYF 2023, you will get all this information. We are in UAS, Krishi Mahavidyalaya, this is a university, so agri-tech is also growing. I think people should realize that agriculture is the future. सब कुछ रहेगा, खाने के लिए कुछ नहीं है. We are coming to that. There's going to be a food shortage, so that's a technology where it's a huge tech space for young people to be in, because a lot of people are leaving their homes, farmers, and they're coming to the urban, so we are also having an imbalance there. In this regard, the new education policy has been framed to encourage the students in all facets of life and skilling. So Dr. Chetan would like to have your views on this, please.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And also at the same time, it's a challenge to speak after Tejasvi ji, because he has set such a wonderful tone and tenor for the entire discussion. I was telling Vivek ji that after supersonic flights go, the small aircrafts like us will be crushed under his waves that he leaves behind. And the echo is still there, sir, in the hall. So I hope I live up to that. So coming to your question, Mukulji, that Mukunji, the NEP, I personally feel, because the endeavor that has gone from 2017 onwards, the startup and digital India that we are also talking about, as Swami Vivekananda ji always said, that whatever endeavor we do, it should be for Lokahita, end of the day. And startup and digital India should be directed towards it. And I strongly believe that education is one such instrument which can translate this endeavor of Lokahita through our 21st century needs and demands. I think that is where I think we are very happy that we are amongst young men, aspiring minds who are in the system of education. And NEP sets that tone and tenor for the way forward. Firstly, because it sees education as a continuum. One of its kind in the entire history of India, where the modern India, where we see education was seen as watertight compartments. Primary, upper primary, secondary, upper secondary, or post-secondary, and then higher education. But here, we have an advantage thanks to the leadership of the government, who has thought through that NEP must be seen as wherein education is a continuum, because if we really want to bring change in higher education, we have to look into school education and the reforms there. And that is exactly what is currently happening. Based on the national education policy, we have the national curriculum framework, which is being framed with Dr. K. Kasurangan as the chairman for both. And members still continue. And I think I would urge, and I take this occasion to all the young minds to please Google or YouTube Dr. Manjul Bhargava, who is one of the pioneer in what NEP is already being telling, as well as the national curriculum framework. Manjul Bhargava ji, who is an excellent musician, mathematician, and magician. And his course in Princeton, Math, Music, and Magic, is one of the world's renowned course. I think this is an occasion for all of you to see it as a case in point, as a footnote I would like to share. Secondly, education to learning, that shift that happened. As an insider to the process, and thankfully all the action was happening in Bangalore, the drafting of NEP and now the drafting of NCF, where we saw that in the first few documents, there's emphasis on the word education a lot. And moment you have education as a word in the policy, teachers become the center, and students take a back seat. In the new education policy, though the title says that, but the essence is more on learning, which eventually makes it student-centric. And that is where students at this stage of their life must be looking forward to enabling that. Third, along with this learning, what we are seeing is multidisciplinarity, which in Kannada we say Bahusisthina Vyavasthe, which is already there, time-tested in Nalanda Takshashila, and now we are long forgotten because of the colonial rule. We were all children of the Macaulay's education system. I think now NEP wants to undo that and uproot the Macaulay's education system and bring in this multidisciplinarity in its entirety, which will enable startups and the optimal utilization of digital in India, because they are able to apply to the cause of Lokhita, end of the day. Because that is the sensitization to looking at management from the perspective of sociology, engineering from the perspective of economics, and vice versa. That's another value add. Finally, as you said, skill. Now, eventually we have been talking about skill as something which is based to linked towards employment. I think now we are moving towards skill, not just towards employment, the shift towards employability, number one, entrepreneurship, as Vivekji said, and more importantly, towards life skills. I think life skills are the one which will keep us alive going forward, because NEP's vision is to see India 2047 as a vibrant nation, a young nation, which is already we are harnessing the demographic dividend that we have. But it gives a pathway to reach to that direction. So life skills and soft skills, which we learn by default while we are at home, while we are at work or at institution. But now it is channelizing it to a much more structured way, so that life skills and soft skills are enabled. And I think all of this will lead to the notion of how we position, and India now having the presidency of G20 with a vision of representing or repositioning the nation today to become a Vishwaguru, as Tejasvi said. We are also conceptualizing education as internationalization at home, right? And it is an aggressive move, because, and our friends from Agriculture University are the best case in point, because there's such an amazing agriculture-related research happening in India, but we end up opening ourselves to the West for them to come and study. So I have a statement to all my young friends, and please take it as a provocation from my side as an educator in the field of education. There is limited or no India-based research on Indian issues by Indians in India. It's very unfortunate. At the same time, there is scope. And I think education has that instrument and a means with this vision of the NEP to bring that perspective together. Instead of fighting towards structural issues, as Niti Aayog also states, 70%, approximately 70% of NEP does not need any government circular orders. For example, making learning joyful and discovery-based, teachers don't need an order, students don't need an order from the government. It is our job, it's our obligation. I think that at least we should start doing and making that, seeing that difference. And I think the last and the final component before I open up for questions is the concept of lifelong learning. As they say, learning from cradle to grave. So lifelong learning, what has happened today in Indian context is become lifelong education. Again, we wanted to make it didactic. Again, we want to bring the teacher into the classroom. But learning, which I said earlier, has to. And this we have learned from nation states around us, not from the West. In NEP time also, we were not only looking at UK and US because we had to look at them because our students are going there. But what is not there is what was seen in the countries surrounding us, which is where they anchor on learning, competencies, skills, etc. And last and not the least, value-based education. I think that value-based education is something which the Lokahita, as Swamiji has envisioned a long time ago, and it continues to be part of our living and part of our experience, is where I think it will go forward. With this, I'll rest my thoughts for now, but I'll open for a set of questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Before I begin, NSS आपके ही साथी ने जो किए हैं अमृत समुदाय, I would request them to present a 5 minutes presentation very quickly. Mrunal, please come forward. NSS और इधर backstage, Bunny, please. You can take the mic. And please. Sir, these are from our NSS volunteers from the state. They have done a wonderful job. They are representing, unfortunately, we didn't think. So fitting, we'll see how fit we are.
Check, check. Check. Good afternoon, all the dignitaries on the dais and the audience who are listening to me right now. It's a pleasure for me to present in front of you all. I am Mariam Vasnat Faza, a student of Anupa University, presently pursuing my bachelor's in physiotherapy, and I'm also a student NSS volunteer of Anupa deemed to be university.
I am Vandana Surya Prakash from Yenapoya University, an NSS volunteer representing the NSS unit of Yenapoya.
So today we are here to speak about Amrita Samudaya Abhivriddhi Yojana. Anybody in the audience know what Amrita Samudaya is? Can I see your hands up, please? Thank you. Anyways, let me tell you, it is a 5-year adoption program initiated by Government of India and inaugurated by Chief Minister of Karnataka on the occasion of 75th Independence Day, which is one of the special innovative project under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. This project aims to establish proper health, education, infrastructure, cleanliness, and creating awareness in the localities of impoverished village by the means of sustainable development. Now I'll ask one more question. You all know what is sustainable development? Can anybody tell? Thank you, ma'am. So sustainable development is a development that meet the need of present generation without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own need. So this project is implemented in 31 districts, 120 taluks, and 750 villages. According to Niti Aayog's Sustainable Development Goal Index of 2020 to 2021, 27% of general population of Karnataka are facing multidimensional poverty. So this 750 villages belong to those multidimensional poverty are under the poverty line. And the families residing in these villages will be benefited from this Amrita project.
Plastic-free pollution is not a choice, but a commitment for life, a commitment for the future generation. Let's talk about this very important project that we have been working on called the Pet Brick Project. So the Pet Brick Project is about gathering plastic bottles around the streets where street litter has been caused. And we're trying to collect all the bottles from the streets and trying to make brick bottles so we can use it as an alternative building material to use to build walls and to make flooring. So let me read out to you. PET bottles were gathered, manually sorted by size, then tightly packed with sand and steel. Then the floor and walls of the house will be built using these bottle bricks that have been glued together with cement. Sand-filled bottles are excellent alternative building materials since they are as sturdy as bricks. It offers exceptional value for money as it is pretty cheap, low maintenance, long lifespan that is 15 to 30 years and has very low cost. So talking about it, how many of you have seen a lot of plastic bottles around the streets? Can I have them raise your hands? Yeah, what do you think is the cause of plastic litter, making, the street litter is so vast? What do you think is the cause? Anybody? Very good. Who told me that? Yeah, very good. It's because it's low cost. Water bottles are like 10 rupees each, right? So you've been like throwing it all around. So we are doing you a favor by picking all of these bottles up, making bottle bricks. So we're filling sand inside the bottle, sealing them tight, and making sure that they're as sturdy as bricks so we can seal them with cement and fix them as walls. Okay, in the modern days, we've been seeing that plastic bottles have been thrown away everywhere. So we've been trying to transform and trying to put a repurpose to plastic bottles. So does anybody know in the crowd what PET means? Why are we calling this plastic bottle PET? Yeah, polyethylene? Completed, terephthalate. Okay, yeah, over to you.
Now let's see the program undertaken in these adopted villages, which is nothing but a nutritional program. The beneficiaries of this program is more than 84,000. So you know the malnutrition is one of the major cause of mortality in India. Concerned with this, government of Karnataka have initiated this multi-nutrient supplement distribution to pregnant women and maldistribution to teens. And there is a public awareness, plastic-free awareness campaign where more than 1.5 lakh of people have benefited from this, and adult literacy program. That is each one teach one. Like that is like you learn, you teach the next person learn, teach the next person. Where 2,000 people have benefited from this, and I'm happy to tell that in the blood donation drive, over 900 units of blood have been collected from Karnataka under this Amruta Samudaya project. And from Anupaya deemed to be university, we have adopted 3 villages under Mangaluru Taluk. So these are the works we done on those villages, which is pet bottle brick project, about which Ms. Vandana already explained. And there is Swachh Grama program, which is nothing but 46 volunteers from Anupaya deemed to be university, Anupaya Institute of Arts, Science, Commerce and Management, from 14 January 2020 to 20 January 2020, clean the premises and different areas of all villages, 3 adopted villages, for a period of 1 week. And they also created awareness about the proper waste disposal system. And there is blood donation awareness camp, cancer awareness outreach program, health screening camp, that is screening on diabetes and hypertension. You can see this is a picture of dam construction in Mangaluru and renovated bus stand, which is under Amruta project, which is in Shivamogga. And that is Swachh Grama program. Swachh Grama program by Anupaya deemed to be university. So before I conclude, I would like to thank everyone who gave us this opportunity to speak. And I would like to tell that alone we do so little, but together we can do much more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very, very much. In fact, sir, this idea came to us from AACT initially, because AACT is giving credits. But those credits were in certain areas, so most of these students were doing very mundane things. Now, when the NSS and the students tied up, we can see a wonderful result. So, what is in it for me? मेरा क्या है, if you say, one is society का improvement हो रहा है, one आपका credit मिल रहा है, आपका course complete हो रहा है. So, it's a win-win-win for all, for Amrita Samadaya. Now, we will open up for questions, but there's a rule. 20 minutes, 10 questions. Whoever gets the mic there, whoever has a cordless mic is there, we will give equal opportunity for all these 3 areas. 10 questions.
Wow.
Because sir, otherwise it goes on. Full. Ladies first.
ಏನು ಪ್ರೈಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತನಾ ಈ ತರ ಪ್ರೈಸ್?
ಅದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ವ್ಯಾಲಿಡ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ನಿಜವಾಗ್ಲು ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. ಸರ್ ಮೈಕ್ ಆಫ್ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್
ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಮಾಡೋಣ.
The students, please state your name slowly.
Students, sit down. Please sit down. Good evening, everybody here.
Please sit down, all boys.
I am N. Uday Ranjan Gaud, contingent leader for Telangana State.
They will give chance, please.
So, first of all, I would like to thank our young youth icon, Honorable MP Tejasvi Surya Garu, for addressing this young generation and motivating them and what is their aim to achieve and what their work to see a great and, greater India here. So, in this, as you rightly mentioned, sir, for example, if you give 5 kilometer, 10 kilometer run, and would you run at this age? And they all know the answer. Because young India, it's not in the age. And not in the age, but when you do it, only you can call yourself as very young person. And two questions, sir. One question. I think all the audience over here are from NSS background, and we all come from different states from India. And we are glad to participate in these kind of youth summits where we can have interaction session. But one thing we are not getting here, that as you are implementing, Government of India is implementing NEP. Yeah. Government of India is implementing NEP where they are giving freedom to all the students. But now here all the young students are there. They also want to participate in all the cultural events, adventurous sports, and they are sitting here in the hall. And they want to aspire, they want to explore themselves in other kind of events as well. So through you, sir, I request the management of this National Youth Festival to give some kind of opportunities for NSS volunteers as well. Thank you.
Only volunteers, please. No program officers. Encourage our volunteers.
Before
Please
the
sit down.
question answer
They will
session
decide.
commences,
They will decide. Please sit down. Sit down,
I
please.
know the Josh is high here for the question answer session, but before the question answer session commences, I would request Harshit from Gujarat and Siddhingal from Andhra Pradesh to assemble near the dais, if they are present. I hand over the floor to you.
Excuse me.
Please bring out your
Yes,
question.
yes. Appa, yes.
Sir,
Decide.
Welcome. Yeah.
sir, my name is Vasu from Telangana. I am NSS student. Sir, I would like to ask about a sports question, sir. Sir, ours is the biggest population country, and we have lot of facilities with compare other small countries. For suppose comparing to other African countries like Jamaica, there were no minimum facilities for the athletes, but we can see the world famous athletes there. But we have lot of facilities in everywhere and anywhere, but we are not able to get gold medals and much medals in Olympics. What is the reason why we are not getting more medals, and what type of steps we take to for future for better results?
I think Tejasvi ji has asked me to take the first lead, but I'm sure he will add more to it. From the education point of view, unfortunately, sports has become co-curricular and extracurricular, not as curricular. So parents and students and children, both, all of them are not so interested, because on marks card, you don't see sports, how many marks you get for
Sir,
sports.
sorry.
Yeah.
Brothers, listen, 1 second. Bhaiya, listen, बैठो भाई. भाई बैठो यहाँ. Brother, sit down.
Hello.
सबको मौका मिलेगा, आप बैठिए, please. Brother, you please sit down. You sit down. Listen, can we all do one thing? ये National Youth Festival है, और youth मतलब discipline. है कि नहीं? और अगर एक बंदा प्रश्न पूछ रहा है, हम सबका दायित्व बनता है कि हम उस प्रश्न का जवाब भी सुनना पड़ेगा. वरना ऐसा लगेगा कि आप प्रश्न पूछने के लिए ही प्रश्न पूछ रहे, आपको जवाब से कुछ लेना देना नहीं है. Will you all also listen to the answer? ठीक है, if need be, I will spend 20 extra more minutes with all of you, but I want all of you to spend this quality time, because the time with Kenny ji, the time with him, this is not something you will get again and again. So please, in a very orderly fashion, ask your questions. And do not waste time on salutations, namaste बोलना, ये बोलना necessary नहीं है. सीधा आप अपना प्रश्न पूछिए और ठीक से जवाब सुनिए. Can we do this? All right, done.
Thank you. Yeah, so...
My question is to Tejasvi ji. So,
Madam, एक मिनट.
अरे मैडम, अभी तक मैं यही बोला, जवाब ही नहीं सुन रहे आप. आएंगे आपके पास. 1 मिनट बैठिए प्लीज. बैठिए. जी आप बोलिए.
So, friend, it's like that. See, when we are in school, sports is always seen as an extra hour in the timetable, right? And it is not in the curriculum. So now National Curriculum Framework and National Education Policy, both of the documents are emphasizing that sports should be part of curriculum, not extra and co. Because NEP says there is no difference between extra, co and curriculum. All are curriculum. So at least there is some seriousness is going to come in students, more importantly parents, because they are the one who will say that you don't get marks, so don't get into sports mostly. Very few parents who are encouraging. So there is some change, there is some hope coming, and I'm sure there will be a vibrant India 2047 with all these changes coming. This is my quick thought.
I have a different take before because we don't need to repeat the same. यहाँ generally we spend a lot less time on sports as youth. Passion होना चाहिए. Abroad they spend a lot of time on running, exercise and other things. That is something we need to inculcate. So ये सवाल अपने ऊपर जाता है कि how much time are we spending on doing anything. So that's it.
Sir, when in India, the oldest civilization, Sindhu civilization exists, USA did not had any kind of civilization. But as you said, soon we will be beating USA. But even after 75 years of independence, we are not able to beat USA. It may be in terms of GDP, whatever. So what is the reason behind it, sir?
Ma'am, please tell your name.
Myself, Aishwarya.
Thank you. The questions which are being posed, please mention your name before the question. Thank you.
मुझे आंसर करना है? अच्छा. Let me, at the cost of not sounding political, I want to give you a very factual answer. I was in Tripura a week ago, और मुझे पता नहीं आप में से कितने लोग मुझे सोशल मीडिया में फॉलो करते हैं. आप नहीं करते हो तो प्लीज़ कीजिए, ठीक है? लाइक, सब्सक्राइब और फॉलो, ठीक है? नाउ I had posted a video on my social media of me interacting with the Chief Minister of Tripura. He and I were going in a train and he was, ऐसे गपशप मार रहे थे. वो बहुत अच्छा गायक भी है, वो गा रहे थे. And then एक बच्ची आई, छोटी लड़की, और ऐसे बात करते हुए she thanked the Chief Minister. And I asked the CM as to why she is thanking him. So the CM said, हम ट्रेन सर्विस शुरू किए इसलिए वो धन्यवाद दे रही है. So I asked, I thought that maybe a new train is introduced in that line and that's why the child is, भैया बैठो यार, मौका मिलेगा next, बैठो. Maybe he will get maybe that is the reason why she is thanking. But to my utter shock, the Chief Minister told me that for the first time, Tripura got train connectivity only in 2020. So can you believe that there is a state in India that even after 70 years of independence, got rail connectivity for the first time after 7 long years? My question then was, so suppose a young person wants to take his mother or father or somebody old in the family to a hospital. What do? They said the capital of Tripura is Agartala. Agartala से 16-17 घंटे रास्ते पे ट्रैवल कर गुवाहाटी जाना पड़ेगा और गुवाहाटी से 2 दिन के लिए 3 दिन के लिए ट्रेन में जाना पड़ेगा बैंगलोर, पुणे या चेन्नई. It was only after Narendra Modi became Prime Minister of this country that Tripura got rail connectivity for the first time. If this was the state of our infrastructure, if this was how we had built institutions and infrastructure that would have created growth in this country, if we had neglected basic essential infrastructure for so long, how can we beat the USA? I want all of you to watch an interview that's available on YouTube. Watch an interview of Narayan Murthy ji on how he struggled to build Infosys, of how it was difficult for him at that time and age to even import basic computers at the time of starting up Infosys. So for 70 years, we followed policies which shackled our people, did not allow young Indians to explore their true potential, did not invest in creating ports, in roads, in infrastructure that would have created this virtuous cycle of economic growth. How can we beat any country? Forget USA. I will tell you that it was in 2014 when the young of India decided that it is enough and brought Narendra Modi as the Prime Minister, that India finally and truly got political, economic, social and cultural independence. That's why 2014 marks the birth of new India. And that's why in the next 25 years, thanks to all the enabling platform that has been kept and built, India is ready for takeoff. And we are the generation which will pilot this India's takeoff.
Namaskar, sir.
One second.
Hello.
It's very interesting to listen to his perspective coming from an entrepreneur, because the question is directly related to one of that.
So to add to what Tejasvi said, I lived in the US for 18 years and I saw that development there. And I'm back here and I'm glad I'm back here. One of the reasons, as he mentioned, was the policies. 25 years ago, I was part of a very young team that was trying to bring Intel into India. And I'm sure all of you here know what Intel is. The challenges in actually having them come to India was so great that they just gave up and said, we'll go to China, because China had much more easier policies. So there are two things that are very important. One is the attitude and the ability to look for solutions and then say, let me try and build an entrepreneurial ecosystem. I'm a very strong believer, and that's also one of the reasons why, and I mentioned this when I was speaking, one of the reasons why the US and some of the advanced nations have done really well is because they have promoted entrepreneurship. They have promoted innovation. And innovation, entrepreneurship does what? It creates not only jobs, but it also brings development. And when that happens, the standard of living of people also improves and increases. And that's the way we are also now starting to do that now. And I think going forward, it's India's time, and we will actually start seeing that happen to the point where we will actually start leaving a lot of the other countries behind.
सर नमस्कार, मेरा नाम है गणपत माखने, मैं महाराष्ट्र से आया हूँ। तेजस्वी सर, मैं आपसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ। आज के युवाओं को
सर, you are program officer or volunteer, sir? Hello, sir. You are program officer or volunteer?
नहीं सर, मैं स्टूडेंट हूँ, वॉलंटियर हूँ।
Okay, बात करो सर।
सर, मैं महाराष्ट्र से हूँ, गणपत माखने मेरा नाम है। मैं आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ सर, आज के युवाओं को राजनीति में आना चाहिए या ना आना चाहिए? आना चाहिए तो क्यों आना चाहिए, और नहीं आना चाहिए तो क्यों नहीं आना चाहिए? ये क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे क्यों पूछना चाहता हूँ, ये भी आपको बता देता हूँ। मैं महाराष्ट्र से आया हूँ। हमारे महाराष्ट्र में मैं वारकरी संप्रदाय से रिलेटेड हूँ, मैं कीर्तनकार हूँ, संत तुकाराम महाराज के परंपरा का हूँ। मैं विलेज में जाता हूँ, हर गांव में मैं माता पिता को पूछता हूँ, अरे आपके बच्चों को आप क्या बनना पसंद करते हो, आपका बच्चा क्या बनना चाहता है? तो वो माता पिता बोलते हैं कि मेरा बच्चा डॉक्टर बनना चाहिए, मेरा बच्चा इंजीनियर बनना चाहिए। लेकिन सर, आज तक का मेरा ऑब्जर्वेशन ऐसा है कि किसी भी माँ बाप ने ऐसा नहीं कहा कि मेरा बेटा तेजस्वी सर जैसा एक बहुत बढ़िया और लोकप्रिय सांसद बनना चाहिए। सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन यह है, आप प्लीज आंसर दीजिए।
बहुत धन्यवाद। उनको दीजिए भैया, वो बहुत आक्रोशित हो रहा है, उनको दीजिए। आएंगे नेक्स्ट, बिल्कुल। माइक नहीं है तो मैं खुद वहां आ जाऊंगा, ठीक है? चलिए, लिसन टू द आंसर नाउ। भैया बैठो यार प्लीज ಸರ್. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಮೈಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಶಾಂತ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೂರಿಸಿ ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತುಂಬ ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಎಸ್ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಸಿಟ್ ಡೌನ್. ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ವಾಂಟ್ ಅನ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿಸ್? अच्छा, now listen. Friends, राजनीति में आना या और राजनीति से इंटरेस्टेड रहना, इस दोनों में बहुत फर्क है. My first request to all of you is that I want all of you to show an active interest in political developments. Why? There is a very interesting saying. It says, you may choose not to be interested in politics, but you do not have the choice to not be affected by the outcome of politics. Did you understand? Let me repeat this again. You may choose not to be interested in politics, but you do not have the choice to not be affected by the outcome of politics. Let me give an example. If you are a student who aspires to be, like he said, a sports person, if the government of the day makes policies which creates an artificial distinction between sporting achievement and academic achievement, as an aspiring sports person, you will be affected. If you are an aspiring cultural enthusiast like you, if the government of the day, in the name of secularism and etc., practices a perverse form of ideology which discriminates native traditions and indigenous traditions, then you will not be getting the right cultural space and opportunities that you will need. From economics to culture, sports to innovation, entrepreneurship to employment, politics affects every aspect of the society. Therefore, it is very important for young people to be interested and also invested in politics. Now, does that mean I want all of you to leave your ambitions of becoming a sports person, entrepreneur, a business leader, and कल से सुबह कुर्ता पैजामा पहन के राजनेता बन जाए? नहीं. The society needs more engineers, more business people, both more value creators than lawyers or political leaders, because they are the real wealth creators. But now, the first thing that I want all of you to do is, before you dream of contesting an election, I want all of you to register as voters and vote in every election, because by voting, you are putting your voice on a pedestal. Through vote, you are registering your vote. You are registering your voice. आप में से कितने लोग वोटर रजिस्ट्रेशन किए हैं? बहुत बढ़िया. How many times have you voted till now? 2 times, 3 times? बहुत बढ़िया. Come what may on voting day. पहला मतदान, बाद में जलपान. That should be the motivation of of all of you to go and vote. Now, in case some of you are interested in getting into electoral politics, it is very good and very encouraging. And let me tell you that politics, just like economics, is getting more and more democratized in this country. Again, thanks to the Prime Minister and to my political party. This is the political party which does not ask you what is your surname, whether your father was in politics, whether your mother was in politics, and whether you will inherit their political legacy. Just like India is today creating first generation business entrepreneurs, the country is also creating first generation political leaders who come from very normal non-political families. So आप में से किसी को भी राजनीति में एक्टिवली आने के लिए मन है, सेवा करने के लिए मन है, तो आप आ सकते हैं and show interest in pursuing a career in politics. But again, there is a caveat I would want to put. Before you want to join politics electorally, full-time, jo bhi, spend a good amount of time, 8 years, 10 years at least, pursuing some profession, whether it is, if you are a doctor, whether you are an engineer, whether you are a startup entrepreneur, do something for 10 years, prove something there, stand on your own feet, and then come to politics. Politics should never be your primary source of income or earning, because politics आप खुद के लिए नहीं कर रहे हैं. आप politics आप देश के लिए कर रहे हैं, दूसरों के लिए कर रहे हैं. Therefore, politics में आना है तो आप सेवा भाव से आना है, देने के लिए आना है, लेने के लिए नहीं. So if you have that mindset, then come to politics. Please.
Hi sir, myself Varada. I am from Kerala. I am a graduation student. And the age from 18 to 22 are the best time to think and innovate ideas and entrepreneurship things. As most of the Indian students are in the higher education institutions through the best time of their lifetime. And so there is no proper working of IIC and also the incubation systems for entrepreneurship and intervention ideas. We have no freedom to execute our ideas and entrepreneurship things in our higher education campuses. So what our ideas were reaching only to the prototype stage. So what system can make our higher education system to a entrepreneurship or innovations friendly one?
So I think there is a fair amount of entrepreneurial development at the college levels. I mean, that's what you were asking about. And there is a lot of that is starting to happen. So one of the qualities of being an entrepreneur is never giving up. Just because my college doesn't have an entrepreneurial incubator or doesn't really support me should not necessarily mean that you can't do it. There are enough private incubators, there are enough non-profit incubators, there are enough people out there. If you actually go out and look, information is very democratized, right? Information is freely available. Where can you go and get help? There is a lot of that available. The state governments, a lot of the departments actually have proactive programs to really support this. So go out and look to and talk to people, and then try and start looking at programs that can actually support whatever entrepreneurial ambitions you have, right? I talked about one of the companies I invested in. That entrepreneur spent years actually trying to find the right partners and the right people before you could actually get started. So one of the things is, just because your college doesn't have it or may not necessarily have it now doesn't mean you should actually stop looking at it. That's one. Second is, just because you're focused on education doesn't necessarily mean to say you can't look at this outside of your education. As part of your educational curriculum, you would have actually come across problems. So when you're coming across problems, look for solutions for those, and those can actually become an idea that you can actually take on to go and start a business.
How many of you know there is an incubator in this campus that you're staying in? How many of you know that? Very few. Basically, we have a huge incubator system in Karnataka, at least I speak for Karnataka. We have a good incubator system, both private, both government. We have COE. Again, like I said, please visit vivekananda.in where we will be popularizing. You can make use of it. For the youth of Karnataka, please do visit this, and you can benefit from various schemes of incubation, both private and otherwise. Thank you.
I am Abhinandan from Karnataka State Law University, sir. During the year 1917, rupee 1 was introduced in India. At that time, when we compare our Indian currency standard with US standard, it was equal to 0.09 rupees. And during independence, in the year 1947, it was equal to 4.16 rupees. And currently, if you look, it is about 81.35 rupees. Like, what would you suggest? I request you kindly to suggest some measures so that India, we call it, has to become as the world leader, Vishwa Guru. So what we are endeavoring to become. Could you please suggest any measures so that we can reach $1, which is equal to 1 rupees, and without decreasing the inflation rate, which is less than 6 rupees, 6%. Thank you so much.
So let me answer that from a financial or from a business perspective. If you look in history and you look at some of the countries that have developed and risen really fast over the last few decades, especially if you look at what we call as Asian tigers, Malaysia, Korea, Singapore, all of these, what is it that they have actually done in order to also not only develop, but also for their currencies to actually be strong? One is an export-oriented growth.
It's a major issue for...
And that's one thing that we are now starting to think about, right? Look at these new programs around, really encouraging manufacturing. Manufacturing not just necessary for our own consumption, but manufacturing from an export perspective. So when you start thinking about all of those, what really impacts these whole rupee versus dollar is not just the question of what we are doing internally, but what we are doing globally as well. The moment our goods and products and services are starting to get exported more and more, and we start gaining really a global domination or a global market leadership position, then you'll also start seeing the moderation in that whole exchange rate. And for that to happen, more export-oriented growth, more export-oriented businesses, also need to start, which also means that I go back to this, right? Entrepreneurship is not necessarily just building companies for India. There are a lot of companies that got built in India and have all gone abroad and overseas. Zoho is a classic example of one. Build things like that. And those are the ones that will actually help at least address this whole issue of what you think is the, rupee to dollar exchange issue.
Namaskar, sir. Myself Dikshita Bora. I'm from Assam Guwahati University NSS volunteer. मेरा ये क्वेश्चन सूर्या सर से है कि हमारे देश में यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड लॉ का होना जरूरी है क्या, और ये जरूरी है तो देश का क्या फायदा होगा? थैंक यू.
बहुत बढ़िया और एक तरफ से कंट्रोवर्शियल भी क्वेश्चन आपने पूछ लिए है. यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड देश के एक संवैधानिक दायित्व है सरकारों के ऊपर. इट्स अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल ऑब्लिगेशन. यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड क्या होता है? व्हाट इज द जिस्ट ऑफ यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड? That in a modern democracy, every citizen must be governed and ruled under a common set of laws. That is the gist of Uniform Civil Code. That people should not be discriminated on the basis of the religion that they follow. So if you are a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu or a Parsi or whichever religion, if you are a citizen of India, all must follow the same kind of civil laws. This is the gist of Uniform Civil Code. इसमें कुछ problem है आपको लगता है? Today I'll give you an example. There is a common uniform criminal law in India. Correct? I want to ask you a question. आप मुझे बताइए. If there is a say some pickpocket that happens, some theft that happens in your neighborhood, and if the thief gets caught, okay, does the police ask ये हिंदू है या क्रिश्चियन है, and then do they decide whether he has to put 420 case, 432 case, they do it? करते नहीं करते? अगर मर्डर हो गया, if somebody has committed murder, if is a person who has committed murder, will he be prosecuted based on whether he is a Hindu or a Christian or a Muslim? सबको सजा मिलता है एक ही तरफ से. Correct? In the same way, in matters of inheritance, in matters of property, in matters of marriage, in matters of adoption, in all of these civil matters also, there must be a similar code, similar law, where everybody comes and follows the same law. This is what is the essence behind Uniform Civil Code. Is there any problem with this? Should be done, right? This is what the constitutional founding fathers also, in the directive principles of state policy, enjoined upon the governments to implement. Right? This is what is Uniform Civil Code. And this has been a commitment of our party. And whenever the right time comes, my party and my government will definitely do this, because it's a constitutional commitment. It is our party's manifesto commitment.
Sir. Namaste, sir. Sir. This is Nitin from Hubli, sir. Sir.
Sir. Yelli.
Hello.
Sir, namaste, sir.
This is Nitin from Hubli, sir.
Yes,
sir.
Home ground. We have to give one Hubli.
Sir. Yeah.
Yes, ask your question, brother.
Namaste, sir. Sir, we have a famous song called Ellaru Maduvudu Ottegagi Tundu Battegagi. We are here in the Youth Summit, we are just talking about the prosperity, and sir has quoted a 10-second called we lag behind the food, where agro industry plays a vital role. And I have just 3 questions for each one of the dignitaries. First is, what is the entrepreneurship role in agro? And second is, where we are lacking, that is youths going behind technology and lacking behind agro, or parents doing the wrong, making their children's engineers and doctors, and is government doing the wrong thing, just not fully supporting the agro team. And my third question is, in this Karnataka, we have just minimum amount of agriculture-based universities. Is there any new educational law coming about the agro in school levels? Thank you.
Thank you. Very great question. And thank you for the question, because we needed something to answer. Technology plays a very important role. For example, in agriculture, IoT is the biggest game changer now. I don't know how many of you want to even use agriculture. The problem with agriculture generally is, I'm sure Mr. Kenny will shed more light on it. The rate of return is a bit longer than you can expect. But once it gets starting, it won't stop. That is the main factor here, is how do you do intelligent and smart agriculture? How do you do integrated farming? How do you leverage technology? I don't know how many of you even know that the government sends out SMS alerts every day on the temperature of the day or the rainfall of the day. I don't know how many people you know. University of Agricultural Sciences from the government side. Government can play only a limited part of it. Government is a part of the system. We are the other part, the citizen. There's a pesticide, application for pesticide. Corporates are giving free. How many people of you, if I say are using WhatsApp and Facebook, everybody will raise your hands. If I say how many people are using an app that is useful to them, whether it's a PMKVY app or a Kaushal Karnataka app, half of you will not even raise your hand. So please start using these things to educate yourself. There's a crop-in-crop app, free app. I don't know how many people in agriculture have even downloaded this. So my suggestion to everybody is, social media has fun, digital is fun. Please start downloading those apps which are also relevant to you. Morning I had told you about GeoChat and NYF 2023. I don't know how many of you have downloaded now. Within now you would have seen about 100 WhatsApp messages, Facebook messages, posted, retweeted. Please use some tools that are useful to us so that we can communicate to us, we can also reach out to you. This is my part. I will now hand it over to Dr. Chetan.
In the National Curriculum Framework, from grade 6th onwards, agriculture is one component which will be part of the holistic progress card of the student who is going to go from 6th onwards to higher secondary. So that is one important component. But what is important is that that experience should be locally contextualized. It cannot be imposed like some practices of North India to be practices in the South India to be brought in. But agriculture, which is rooted in local context, will be part of the holistic progress card of the child, as on the National Curriculum Framework 2022-23. Just for information.
Sir, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್. ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಅಂತ. ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಧಾರವಾಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು. ಸರ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯು ತನ್ನದೇ ಆದ ಬಂಡವಾಳವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಸರ್. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಹಾಗೂ ನೀವು ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಜೀವನದಿಂದನೇ ಬಂದಿರೋದು. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಜೀವನದ ಬಂಡವಾಳ ಯಾವುದು ಸರ್?
ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಜೀವನದ ಬಂಡವಾಳ ನೀನೇನೇ ಅಪ್ಪ. ನಮಗಿಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಬಂಡವಾಳ ಇನ್ಯಾರು ಇರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ? ನಿನ್ನ ಕನ್ನಡಿ ಎದುರುಗಡೆ ನೀನು ನಿಂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮೇಲ್ಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ನಿನ್ನ ನೋಡಿದ್ರೆ ನೀನು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬಿಗ್ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ದಟ್ ಅ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಎವರ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್. ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೋಸ್ who don't understand Kannada. He asked me, during student life, what investment do we have? It's not easy to have investment when we are students.
Sir, ಅದನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಸರ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ? ಏನನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಸರ್ ಬಂಡವಾಳ ಸರ್, ಅಂದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಜೀವನದ ಬಂಡವಾಳನ ನಾವು ಯಾವ ಥರ ಬಳಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಸರ್?
ಅದನ್ನೇ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದು. The biggest investment that you can make when you are a student is in yourself. You are your own biggest investment. So learn skills. ನಿನ್ನ ಭಾಷೆ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿರ್ಬೋದು, ನಿನ್ನ ಫಿಟ್ನೆಸ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಈ ರೀತಿ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಟಿವಿಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಮೂಲಕ ಯು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಯು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಅ ಬೆಟರ್ ಸಿಟಿಸನ್. ಸೊ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಟು ಇನ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಅ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್, ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಇನ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್, ವೆನ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಅ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್. ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲೇ ಭಾಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇರೋದು. ಸೊ ಆಲ್ ದಿ ವೆರಿ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ 5:15 and ನನ್ನ ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಂದಿದೆ. ನಾ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ.
ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಹೆಲೋ, ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಅಭಿರಾಮ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಹಾವೇರಿ ಸರ್. ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಸರ್, I have a problem from.
Good evening, sir.
Sir, I have a problem of youth. Please, sir, understand. One question, sir. Last question. Sir, one last question. Please understand, sir. सर मैं झारखंड से आया हुआ हूँ और मैं झारखंड के विषय में एक आपको प्रॉब्लम बताना चाह रहा हूँ। हमारे यहाँ से ज़रा सा प्रॉब्लम आई है जो कि मैं आपको बताना चाह रहा हूँ। मेरा नाम रिकेश कुमार भारद्वाज हुआ। मैं झारखंड टीम से आया हुआ हूँ सर। और वहाँ पे सबसे मेजर इशू है सर डिजिटल इंडिया को जो आप बता रहे हैं उसके विषय में। वहाँ छोटे छोटे गांव हैं, अलग अलग गांव में सर हम लोग कैसे इस चीज़ को पहुँचाएंगे, मेजर इशू ये है। और एक इशू है सर कि हमारे यहाँ से हेलो सर सर बोलना मैं यही चाह रहा हूँ कि वहाँ से हम लोग झारखंड के 100 वॉलंटियर्स को सर यहाँ असाइन किया गया था, बट झारखंड गवर्नमेंट की वजह से सिर्फ हम 3 आए हैं, वो भी अपनी फ्लाइट से। सर प्लीज टेक अ एक्शन विद दिस।
ठीक है भाई, ठीक है डन। नो इट्स अ सीरियस इशू।
ओके सर, इट्स अ सीरियस इशू
भैया।
यस सर,
इट्स अ सीरियस इशू।
यस सर,
मैं इसको रेज करूंगा ठीक फोरम्स में।
यस सर,
and be rest assured I'm going to take this up seriously.
Yes sir.
धन्यवाद।
Namaste sir.
Good evening sir.
ನನ್ನ ಹೆಸರು ಅಭಿರಮಂತ sir from
I would
Karnataka sir.
request Dr.
Sir last question sir. Last question sir.
Excuse me sir.
Sir last.
May I please
last
pose my
sir.
question?
I will come down and we will talk in person.
Sir last question.
I would
मेरा
request
flight छूट जाएगा भाई।
Please sir last question.
बहुत धन्यवाद।
Last question sir.
I would
Sir,
request
last
Dr. Shalini Rajneesh ma'am to please come on the dais and present the memento to Honorable MP Shri Tejasvi Surya.
Please sit down. Please sit down. You have time. Please sit down. Please, be seated. We have some instructions. Please be seated. Please, volunteers, program officer, take your volunteer charge.
I would request others
Hello.
to present the memento to Chetan Singhal ji.
Please sit down. Volunteer.
Guys, please.
Further,
We
I
are
would
giving some
request
instructions. Please be seated.
Siddhingal ji of Andhra Pradesh to present the memento to Shri Vinod Kendi ji.
Don't move, volunteers. Don't move. Nehru Yuva Kendra is starting a small office here for receiving your TA bills. I am giving some instructions. Please be seated. Once again, I am announcing NYK is starting here a office for your TA disbursement. That's why they are coming here. Please be seated. Don't move, volunteers. Come back, please. Program officers, please come forward. POs, please come here. Program officers, we have a small meeting and instructions. Please, madam. Shroti ji. NSS program officers, please come forward here. We have adventure programs. Coming. NYK volunteers for your TA disbursement. Nehru Vivekananda officers are coming here. Please be seated here only.
NSS volunteers, please make
NSS के
space.
जितने भी प्रोग्राम ऑफिसर्स अपने स्वयंसेवक के साथ
for the
आए हैं वे यहीं रुकेंगे, उनके साथ में मीटिंग और कल के प्रोग्राम को चेकआउट करना है।
प्रताप,
ठीक है ना? और आपकी क्या रिक्वायरमेंट है, कुछ ऐसा विषय है तो उसको भी अपन आज रखेंगे उसमें और उसके बाद कल उस पर एक्शन लेंगे। ठीक है बेटा, सभी रुक जाओ यहीं पे।
Volunteers, this is not a way. Please come back. Please come back.
NSS ಬಗ್ಗೆ
NSS program officers also.
we are always so proud of NSS, and we want everybody to learn from NSS. Some of you are not happy to be here in the Youth Summit.
Madam, please.
You don't want Youth Summit to continue? You don't want Youth Summit to continue? Then if you tell the guests that as if you have been imprisoned to be kept here, what you are gaining, you know that others are not gaining. And tomorrow you will be in a position to tell 100 things to your 100 colleagues. This is what new I learned. Nobody is stopping you to attend cultural events, adventure sports. I will create special slots for you. Go and do mountain biking, go and do all kinds of wall climbing, whatever you want. Evening, 6 o'clock onwards, enjoy the cultural evening. All states people are doing. Go and, it's only some 2 hours, 3 hours for your development. It is not for, if you think that this is for our benefit, you tell me, I'll close it. But in the open meeting, if somebody says that we have been made to sit here and we are not enjoying the cultural event, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry to hear this. Again and again, organizers are telling you, please follow discipline. There is a system. Not everybody. If this is the way you are thronging, what our guests are going to take the image of our NSS students. I'm not just talking about Karnataka. I'm talking about all NSS, National Service Scheme, which says its motto is, not me but you. What are we doing? Not you but me. I have to ask the question. Something is wrong, I think, in our training capacity building of NSS volunteers. We talk big, but we are not doing what we are saying. Are you truly NSS volunteers? I'm getting my doubts. Are you all NSS volunteers? Show me your hand. You're all NSS volunteers? Keep your hand down. Please show those who are not NSS volunteers. Has somebody forced you? ಯಾರು ಕರ್ಕೊ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇರಬೇಕಂತ? Are you from Karnataka? No, you're not an NSS volunteer, but you came with your own choice, or somebody forced you? NYK forced you? Forced you? Jabardasti? No, you came by your choice. Why? You wanted to learn something new? This kind of information you got in your college, in your state, you got this information earlier? Did you get this? Which bhasha, which language I should talk to you? Are you able to understand me, blue shirt? Hindi. ऐसा पैनल, ऐसी डिस्कशन आपके कॉलेज में, आपकी स्टेट में मिला आपको पहले? ज़्यादा अच्छा मिल रहा है ना? तो ये आपके लिए खास बनाया. आपको मालूम है कितना परिश्रम करना पड़ा हमारे को इन लोगों को लाने में, एक एक आदमी को यहाँ लाने में. ये लोग सब बहुत हाई लेवल के लोग हैं.